From the surface, golf might seem like a boring sport, but it has so much to offer if you pay a little more attention. And just like other sports, this one too has its fair share of dramatic players. Obviously, while some eccentric players gather a lot of fans, others end up with the most haters. Stay tuned as we take you through the most hated golfers on and off the course. Starting with Patrick Reed. In golf, Patrick Reed is one of the most disliked figures. From the minute he announced his arrival several years ago, he was despised, and he hasn't done anything to alter perceptions since then. He is arrogant and off-putting. He is a skilled troll. He was rated the most despised golfer by the British newspaper Telegraph. Before several of his antics, he was ranked as the second least loved guy on the circuit in a 2015 ESPN Players Survey. He often engages in solitary practice rounds and has a history of swearing on television and yelling at supporters. Fans were irritated by the team's decision to wear red on Sundays because they saw it as boastful or derivative. It's reasonable to assume that most opinions of Patrick Reed in the golf community are influenced by rumors and claims about his struggles in college. There were rumors that Reed had recorded higher scores than he really scored, attempted to hit a better positioned ball that wasn't his during a qualifying round, and may have stolen $400 and a Scotty Cameron putter from colleagues. Reed refuted these allegations and said he was fired due to several alcohol-related charges. Reports claim that the occurrences were nothing more than typical college students acting foolishly. Plus, it's common knowledge that if you really want fans to like you, you definitely can't go around calling them names. And that is exactly what Patrick did when he called many of the viewers obnoxious. Jeez. No one likes a cheater or a troll. Add to the equation his ability to brag and, not to mention, his rude attitude toward the fans, and you've got yourself one of the most disliked golf players of all time. Next, Rory Sabatini. Rory Sabatini has a pretty bad reputation. Those who are familiar with him may think he's a lovely man who's just misunderstood. However, he has a bit of a temper, or you would say he has a problem controlling his anger, according to golf enthusiasts, and so we thought it best to choose Rory, a six-time PGA Tour champion, as the golfer who is the meanest and easily one of the most disliked. The face of bitter beer face is Rory Sabatini. He is a terrible whiner who, depending on his mood or how poorly he just hit a shot, will turn on anybody at any moment. Is picking a battle with the world's top golfer really a wise idea? Most likely not, but Rory still did it. Rory had a one-stroke advantage over the field going into the Wachovia Championship, but Rory collapsed, losing to Woods by 5 shots. Rory continued by saying that Woods was more beatable than ever. How does that make any sense? Why was he being pretentious after losing? Jeez. A few months later, Rory had a heckler who was asking him questions about Woods being removed from the Bridgestone Invitational final round. Finally, Rory withdrew from the Tiger Woods-hosted Target World Challenge in December, making history by being the first player to ever do so. Now, that's hilarious. For years after his fight with Woods, Rory was back at it, but this time with a far less well-known opponent. Rory and playing partner Sean O'Haire got into a foul-mouthed argument at the Zurich Classic in New Orleans. The argument's justifications were never made clear. In addition, Rory screamed at a volunteer at the Northern Trust Open who was trying to find the ball. Rory shouted at the volunteer because he thought he had moved his ball. Moving on, David Duval. David Duval, who was tactless, haughty, and media-averse, never handled his success well. He really replaced Tiger Woods as the #1 player in the world in 1999 and was regarded as one of the finest in the game at the time. However, Duval came out as being wary of anyone who wanted to discuss his successes with him while being much too open in interviews. At the same time, he was arrogant and overconfident, which did not serve him well when things became tough. He's hiding behind those Oakley wraparound sunglasses, or his extravagant weight gain also didn't help. Duval hasn't made the cut in any of the competitions he entered in 2013, despite losing weight and growing a beard. He went from being the most popular person in the world to almost being off the tour, and nobody seemed to notice. Not to forget Brooks Koepka. The way Brooks Koepka views himself as a player and his mentality are well known. Koepka is very very conceited and believes he is the greatest golfer on the PGA Tour. Golfers need to be confident in their abilities to become better, but they don't necessarily have to project that confidence as Koepka does. The best thing about Koepka is how well he plays. He is entertaining to watch when he is performing well, but it can get really hard to support him when he begins speaking after an event. Tiger Woods, who we will talk about in a moment, has always been confident in his golfing skills, but he hasn't always been as critical of other players as Koepka. The drama Koepka brings to the PGA Tour is just unnecessary. Brooks Koepka won't be your favorite golfer if you want to see more modest competitors rise to the top of the scoreboard. What's more, there's Ian Poulter. With his tartan pants and dandyish inclinations, Poulter has been one of the most colorful characters wandering the fairways since joining the tour in 2004, and one of the more contentious. Poulter is a tough opponent, not simply a spiky-haired man with a golf club. He has won 16 times on the various professional golf circuits and is now the most dominating Ryder Cup player in recent memory. The PGA Tour needs more passionate athletes who interact with their followers on Twitter as Ian Poulter does. Ian Poulter is competitive and driven to succeed. As a golf enthusiast, you must admire him for his competitive spirit, whether you like him or not. He always wears fancy attire, and the fans resent the way he struts about the track while always looking impeccable. He resembles a peacock, with its feathers spread out when things are going well on the course, according to many. When things on the course don't go his way, though, he becomes cranky and bitter. Many golfers would risk their life on his ability to make a 5-foot putt under pressure. Even when he demonstrated this at the Ryder Cup, there are still many haters in the audience. Well, at least he knows how to put his game where his mouth is. Following up, Sergio Garcia. When Sergio Garcia closed his eyes and curled a shot onto the green around a tree stump in the 1999 PGA Championship, he almost sprang into our collective consciousness. Garcia, who was overjoyed with the outcome, ran erratically and scissored as the ball rose into the air. He ultimately came in second place to Woods in the competition, setting up the possibility of a future rivalry between the two. Garcia progressively lost admirers and rivals because of his constant waggle and unconventional swing throughout the years. As he considered a shot, he annoyingly grasped, released, and re-gripped his club. While he has now broken the habit, he has said without remorse, "My swing works for me, so why should I change it? I prefer a natural swing and play well, rather than a perfect swing and not be able to play well." Garcia has long been regarded as one of the best golfers in the world, but their rivalry never truly materialized. Instead, his brashness evolved into idiocy as a result of his insatiable drive to express himself. He leaped into something less desired than a waggle when he said that he would offer Tiger Woods fried chicken for supper at the US Open. That alone would have sealed his doom, but he just wouldn't stop talking about it. Sergio even told Fox News, "The problem is, I'm one of the guys that have to say something. A lot of people think about it, but don't want to say anything." Ironically, Tiger had been singled out by Sergio as being arrogant and distant. However, it takes a fairly conceited guy to believe he can get away with saying things that aren't even really funny. Not to mention, Gary Player. There is no denying Player's skill as a golfer. To win 163 professional events, including 19 majors, speaks volumes about your game. Player transformed South African golf and served as an inspiration for many of today's best players, including Ernie Els and Louis Oosthuizen. In addition, Gary Player joined Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer to become the most elite trio of players to ever compete, transforming the Big Two into a Big Three. He is seen every year at Augusta National, striking the ceremonial first tee shot to kick off the Masters competition. Player's career has been hampered by several alleged rule violations, most notably his very questionable conduct when he won the Open in 1974. People who are familiar with the details surrounding these rule violations, like Patrick Reed, have no faith in Player at all. He now behaves like the opinionated, irate uncle at a family gathering who wants to continuously remind you that he's still in shape. Besides demonstrating to people that he can handle 2 clubs in his fingers, he travels the globe, asking people to feel how strong his abs are. Finally, Bubba Watson, formerly known as the man's Gentleman's man and a fairly welcome addition to the PGA roster, Bubba Watson's actions during the last several seasons have earned him the moniker rude and unpleasant. In fact, Watson was the most often cited response when ESPN asked a group of athletes which player they'd most want to see eliminated in the event of a brawl in a parking lot. He had made immature requests and complaints throughout a competition, and as the cherry on top, he treated his caddy horribly. Additionally, Watson was recently ranked as one of the PGA Tour's least popular players. 103 tour professionals, including 21 major winners, were polled by ESPN.com and answered a wacky set of questions. Golfers were asked which of their fellow players they would be least inclined to intervene in the case of a conflict breaking out in the parking lot in one of these survey questions. Unsurprisingly, Bubba's name appeared the most. That's a wrap for this video. So which one of these golfers do you hate the most? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.